piping got a set along those pliers, I shall twiddle and pull them out one by one. That's one. Two. Three. Four. Right, the spacer rubber, obviously get that out of the way. I don't think I'm actually gonna, I'll see, I might take them off in a bit anyway. But at the moment, that's fine, that's off. I can get the carburetor off now. It's an 8mm again, isn't it? So one pinch bolt on there, undo it. And the carburetor will move. There we go. You can pull it up and over. Maybe that's a bit tight still. No, it's not. I'm just going to move you again because I brought a chair in, save my back. I'm just going to wiggle the carb while pulling it up towards myself. There, it's starting to come now. You don't want these loose anyway. On the intake, it's got a tube, but it's also got like a rubber band around it. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I'm trying to think what they call them, an O-ring. So, it is fighting me, this carb. They're not normally this tight, but this one is. Probably because it's cold. There we go. There we go. The O-ring's come off that, believe it or not. Is it? No, it's not. So, right. What I've also done as well, because I don't want any leaks of petrol, I've put a I put a little clamp on there so she don't leak. I can pull the tube off. Lucky enough that hasn't poured out everywhere, but it will do when the engine comes out. So there's our carb in its primitive form. Stop, throttle, air screw. A lot of people don't know how to set these up. We will go through that. We may not, depending on whether I reuse this carb or not. So I'll just put that carb out the way. And what I need to do is just put this clamp back on. At the moment, I don't want to lose any of my nuts and bolts and bits and bobs. We'll take off the, I'll move it back here, and take this off and remove the cables off the terminals, like so. Find me 8mm, which it should be there. Yep. Actually a 7mm. Could have used a screwdriver, I suppose. But if you remember, the black ones to you, the power is to the back of the frame. I might even go and stick an electronic on it. Yeah, I've got some ideas that I'm playing around with at the moment. It depends what cylinder I turn up with. If SIP haven't got one in stock, then I might go through the route that we were discussing, which is going to be a lot more work, but it's a more highly tuned cylinder. So we can take our terminals off. 1, 2, Take our cover off of that and put our nuts back on again. Actually, I've dropped the washers, haven't I? Yeah. Lay them on the floor. First job I do, I've got to get down on my knees again. Put the washers back on again. At the moment we don't need to take anything off the loom other than what we've done. What we've got now is down below here we've got our gear cables on. They need to come out. I can't drop you any lower than the tripod will allow me, so I think you can just about make out we've got our nuts on the top there. So, and I need an 8 and a 7mm. The bolt's the 7mm, and the actual ferrule itself is the 8mm. Just undo them. These are different from PX1s. They're smaller, so don't lose them, or try not to lose them anyway. It's always best to buy a couple of these spare if you can. A place like Maskey's in Belgium will sell them to you. So where's me one over here? Oh, he's stepping over here. It's coming, but it's fighting me again. There we go. As you can see, they are very, very small. If I can find out, which I've got hundreds of the things, I'll show you the difference between that and a PX1. If you put a PX1 and it's too high, it gets caught under here and you won't get into first gear. I must admit the light's not very good in here. Where am I? 7mm. The camera is banging my way, unfortunately. That's it. Need them again. There we go. Same one. As you can see, they're brand new. Well, they were 5 years ago. But they've not received a load of play on them. To actually take off this coil, there's a bolt, pinch bolt on the side of the engine, which is a 10mm, and you've got this one here, and then that comes off as a unit, and it's held in with 2 screws underneath. We need a 10mm. What size is that? 10. To get the socket set again. Put the 8 away. You don't necessarily need to take this off at the moment if you're quite happy to cart all of your stuff inside. In actual fact, that's in the way at the moment, so I'm going to need a bigger screwdriver to get this off the fan cowling, and then put all the screws back in again. So I'm just going to go and get a bigger screwdriver to do that. We're not doing it in my shed today, we're doing all this work in the garage, so I'm talking about these screws now to take this out of the way. We can take the fan cowling off, slide this off, and everything's out of the way. Like I say, I'm taking bits off at the moment simply to make the engine lighter, so the cylinder will be off before we move the engine out. Don't really need to take any of this off, simply for the fact is just get the exhaust off. One bolt off of there. You've got two hidden bolts that go through a swing arm, and you've got your rear hub to come off, but not the swing arm itself. So at the moment I am quite happy to go and get a screwdriver and take these off, and like I say, take as much off as I can. So I'll pop back in a sec. Right, so I'm going to take all these screws out one by one. Move you over a bit because you're in the way. Oh, I have done them up tight, bloody hell. I'm up there at the moment. It doesn't help that I'm sitting at an angle, to be honest. But, plus I have got slippery gloves on. Bloody hell, I've really tightened them up. Right, we can take the spark plug cap off. There's a clip up here. We just need to unclip that. Yeah. Pull that up towards you, and it should then go over. There you go. And then we've got a bolt up here, which is a 13. But up to 12 I've got, yep. Right, so what we've got to do is get this bolt off. Turning now. That's it. Put that on there for safekeeping again. This clip here can come out. Just be careful you don't lose it. Just trying to get the other side out. It's just literally a wire clip. Which seems to have decided on it wants to live in there at the moment. But generally I would just take that out. So take off this at the top, swing that around the exhaust. The reason I'm taking this off is to show you that you can get to the exhaust better with the cowling off. There we go. You need to sort of swing it like I'm doing right round, because this clip, which I was trying to get off, will do what this one's doing, and it's come off after all, but it goes basically a wire either side in here. So we'll stick that out of the way again, and the wire clip is down there on the floor. Just put the stand back again. So at this point we could take the cylinder off quite easily. In fact, we might as well while we're this far into this end. So I'll just get an extension. And like we do when we tighten up the heads, we'll do a crisscross pattern. No particular order, just in an X. Oh, they happen to be 14s. They're original ones then. Sometimes we get carried away with putting original stuff on, and not modern day stuff. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we've got our spacer, which will come off. These are 8mm studs like you get on the later Lambrettas, P200s, etc. They're all the same. Right. Well, what we can do is do top one first. And put the nut there. That one's still a little bit tight, to be honest. But I'm doing this bottom right hand one next. Bottom left. And top right. And then we'll have a load of washers which we need to capture. That's it, moving a little bit closer than I am. So what I'm going to do now is cut my hand at the bottom and slide. Oh, they're all going on the floor anyway, but no big deal, I can pick them up in a bit. So there is our cylinder head, which is pretty clean. With the GS running at 6%, they have got a tendency to need decoking quite a lot. Let's put the piston up. I'll spin the fan round. There we come. So that's top dead centre there. As you can see, it was a brand new piston anyway. New rings. I believe it's 57.2, if I'm not mistaken. So what we can do, because this will be stuck, is get a screwdriver in and just wedge it on. That'll do. Once we break the seal, it'll move. There you go. What you've got to watch as well, which has just dawned on me with the GS, when you're pulling the rings down from the top, they have a tendency to get stuck on this input here. So you are better off to take the input off, the inlet manifold I should be saying. So take that off first. Probably better off to do this with the socket on a 10mm. And again, you've got a gasket under here, and I hope you can see the the little O-ring that I was on about that just seals the air inlet to the carburetor. These have a tendency of breaking and letting air in when they get old. So again, it's worth buying a few of them and keeping them secure. So we've got our first bolt put up here, and our washer. I'll be on my hands and knees seeking out all the washers. This one at the back. Clue. And the washer. Depending on what cylinder I go for, we might have to make a new inlet manifold up, or I might have to have one made for me. What people do is they use a metal one with a right angle up here, so the the 25-26mm carb sits here, and then you've got your air filter looking backwards. I'm not sure yet whether I mean they do a choke mechanism up here which changes the flap to a pull on a cable, which is what the carburetor I intend to use has got. So I'll be looking to buy that. I haven't seen one for a while, so if anybody knows where to get one from, I'd appreciate you leaving me a message. So this will be tight again, so what I do is get the screwdriver and just give that a knock. It should actually be able to, I'm trying to not do a lot of damage to it if I can. It should pull up. So there we go. Once you break the seal on your gaskets, you're normally all right. There we go, it's moving now. There you go, it's off. And there's the original gasket on the bottom. Before we do anything, put our washers back and our nuts. And I'll grab you, sorry about the camera, but I'll grab you. You can see the intake on the GS 150 is very small, and when the piston's fully back on the rings are there, they can actually get caught in there. That's what I was saying. If you're putting your piston in or taking it out, just make sure you've got a screwdriver just to push the rings back in again. Or you're going to need a new set of rings because you'll break them. I mean, this cylinder still looks brand new. Absolutely stunning condition. And I can see me petrol pipes, put some petrol on the top, so I will stick that back on there. I'm not taking the cylinder off yet. I want this out of the way first, so I'm going to move you over there again. It doesn't help that I can't really grip this screwdriver. There's another one. Unbelievably tight. I didn't want that to come off again, did I? I think we've got one more at the bottom. There it is. I think that's it. And we can put all the screws in. This, what would you call it, fan cowl, the other side of it, that unbolts from the engine. They are a very nut and bolt engine. They're very old fashioned. Some people call them Victorian engineering. There we go. That one wasn't so tight. I'll put the fan somewhere safe. And we can put our screws back in now. M6 screw. These are stainless steel. of course I can't get it started because I've got gloves on that keep letting go. But so what we can do now is knock out, when I put the screws back in, we can knock these washers down, and what these washers do is stop these bolts from coming undone. Looks like I'm going to have to buy some new ones. You can only use them so many times before the I will explain to you. They've got a little hole, and this stops the bolt from turning, and the hole stops the whole lot from turning, because you've got the other half of the washer goes into the hole. You can make these quite easy because they're only soft brass. And of course I've dropped the screw. What I might do is get my what do you call it, screwdriver that where you hit them with a hammer, because I've got a feeling that these are going to be dead tight as well, the screws holding them on. Again, they're only flat blade, so I can actually put this bracket back on top and put the nut back on. That way we're not going to lose them. So we've got our two screws here, one in the front and one below. And what I'm sort of doing at the moment is I'm getting to get the coil off. So it does seem a lot of work, but when you build this on the bench, you put all this stuff on and just bring it back as one unit. And we've got our last one at the bottom, which I know I'm going to have fun and games with because I can't see it. There it is. And she's on the floor. It's in the hole. It was. There we go. Right, so all we've got to do is knock these flat. Like so. Four of them. Last time these were off when I was timing the engine. You wouldn't build the engine with this on. Right, so we want our 10 mils again. Down here. These are not ultra tight. There you go. But you can, if you want to, you can put the fan holder on them. With the GS, I'll explain in a sec the benefits of a GS over a PX or whatever. You have a circlip here, so you don't need no special tool to pull the flywheel or the rotor off. So we're going to just undo these, take our fan off. There's one, and this is what I was. Oh, they are actually good. I didn't actually see them, but that's the little hook that I'm on about that goes in the hole. So you've got a little hole there. If I spin it around, you'll see. So that stops the washer from moving, and then crimping that on that way stops the bolt from turning. So we'll undo all these, and remember, don't drop your fan. Your one and only fan. There we go. Number two. I won't bother to show you the rest of them, but you get the idea. And at the moment, that petrol on the floor is because I didn't drain the tank down. Number three and number four. And when this goes, the fan will fall off. So you need to keep an eye and a hand on the fan And what these holes are in the rotor, they're for doing your points adjustments. So it's quite a primitive setup. Works fine if you know what you're doing. It's not rocket science to set them up. So I'm just going to put these bolts back in so we don't lose them. They won't be tightened up or anything, they'll just be like halfway in. Like so. My initials on there. And again, when I built this engine, new points, new condenser, don't mess around with old rubbish. I know you see, you know, certain people on their TV shows cleaning points up and what have you. That's fine to get a bike running so you can move it down the road, but you don't want to be on the side of the road broke down somewhere because you've your condenser's not taking the smoothing out the spark or the current I should say, and your points burn out. So take it from me, it's not worth the hassle. Condenser points, they're a must. So I bet I won't be able to turn this. Oh, I can. I must have had a day off that day. So these cheesehead screws, do not lose them. They're a certain length and certain head size, and always try to keep them. And if you can look there, they've got a locking washer, spring washer. See if we can still do the next one. Oh. Nope. There should be one down there, so I might have to get the no, that one's done. Right, so I've got two out. I'm going to try this one again. If not, I'm going to get the screwdriver kit out and the hammer and just give it a tap to move it on. Unfortunately, the battery died on me while I was taking that one out, so we've got a new battery in there, and hopefully, you know, it's only one screw, hopefully it hasn't spoiled it for anybody. All right. Come on, gloves, playing around. Oh, they're all enough. Let me try it out. Cool. I think that's an 8mm anyway. Right. 10. What I can do, because these are engineering screwdrivers, I can actually hold that in place. If this doesn't work, then I'll go and get the screwdriver kit. I think that's not the right size, is it? It could be a 9. 8. I'll go and get the screwdriver and come back.